What's up everybody, Max here with your fix of gaming news. Coming up, Ubisoft share prices spike following rumblings of a potential buyout, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered will require a PSN login on PC, and the original version is being delisted, and David Hayter, the original voice of Snake, Solid, and Naked, is teasing a return to the role. Could this mean Metal Gear? Let's get into it. Ubisoft has had a rough year with share prices dropping 54%, but they just bounced back a whopping 26% practically overnight. The reason? There's talk of a possible buyout. Bloomberg reports that the Guillemot family, who have a 20% stake in the company, and Tencent, which owns about 9%, are both in talks with advisors about options to stabilize the company by taking it private via a stock buyout or sale to another company. Bloomberg notes that a buyout isn't the only option being discussed and that these talks may not go anywhere. But the possibility clearly has big enough implications to move the needle quite a bit. Ubisoft's been in a bit of a rough patch, especially this past year. The long-in-development would-be Call of Duty competitor XDefiant hasn't exactly set the world on fire. Star Wars Outlaws majorly underperformed, especially considering it's the first proper open-world Star Wars game ever, and Assassin's Creed Shadows was shaping up to be one of the fall's bigger games, but it's been delayed to next year, which will have it competing with Ghost of Yotei, another open-world samurai game, as well as GTA 6 and whatever games come along with the launch of Nintendo's long-rumored Switch successor. We'll keep you posted on any further developments. Ubisoft is one of the biggest and longest-running video game publishers around, and for the last almost 40 years, the company has held true to its namesake by making ubiquitous software. That's what Ubisoft is short for, ubiquitous software. So seeing it get absorbed by another company would make some waves. Speaking of making waves, Sony continues to rock the boat for PC players, and not in the good way. Horizon Zero Dawn is getting a fully remastered overhaul, which launches on PS5 and PC on the 31st, and annoyingly, but not surprisingly, the PC version will require a PSN account to play despite being a single-player game. On top of that, the original PC port of the non-remastered Horizon Zero Dawn is being delisted, so unless you already own that version, there will be no means to play this game without logging into PSN. This has been an ongoing frustration for PC players hoping to enjoy some of the publisher's most popular and generally very good first-party PlayStation exclusives on their platform of choice. There's some argument to be made that the PSN ID requirement makes some sense for multiplayer titles that feature crossplay between PC and console, like Helldivers 2 or Concord. Of course, Helldivers 2 launched without this requirement, and it arguably would not have been anywhere near as much of a hit on PC if it had. And also, Concord flopped so hard it was shut down weeks after launch, so that's a non-issue. Maybe it wouldn't have flopped so hard if it didn't have this requirement day one. Meanwhile, for single-player games like Ghost of Tsushima, God of War Ragnarok, and now Horizon Zero Dawn, it's just baffling. Aside from the fact that nobody wants to sign up for another account of any kind unless absolutely necessary, the other gripes players have had with this policy include security concerns due to Sony's long history of data breaches, issues verifying accounts using foreign phone numbers and just straight up not being able to sign up at all, and then the fact that PSN is just straight up not supported in 121 different countries. So it would be cool if Sony backed down on this policy that's actively keeping more than half the world's countries from playing their games and, giving them money. Every time a PC game is released with this requirement, prospective players are extremely vocal about how much they hate it. So maybe take the hint, Sony? Throwing that one out there. Anyway, speaking of hating things, David Hayter, the voice of the original Solid Snake / Big Boss in all of the mainline Metal Gear Solids except for 5, may be hinting at a return to the role, but hold on, don't get excited quite yet. On Twitter last night, Hayter posted, "I was in the booth today, playing a role I've not played since ... And then he replied to the tweet with a gif of Snake from Metal Gear Solid Delta, which, yeah, we know he's in that because it uses all of the same dialogue recorded for the 2004 original. But I'm assuming they're not recording new dialogue because they already have the dialogue because they recorded it 20 years ago. Anyway, here are some other possibilities. The most exciting pie-in-the-sky one is that there's a new Metal Gear Solid game in the works, or another remake that involves new dialogue. That seems too good to be true, or at least that he would be teasing it like this. More realistically, maybe there's some new dialogue or content being added to Delta? Though with how far along that game seems to be in development, that also seems unlikely. Plus, they probably would have hyped that up to be like, hey, featuring new dialogue from David Hayter, or new content entirely. On the other hand, maybe he's recording some new lines that aren't being used in Delta, but in some kind of supplemental or promotional material. He's already hosted a few official videos for Konami as himself, so maybe it's something along those lines. Of course, it's also very possible that this isn't Metal Gear related officially at all, and he's teasing his role in an upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog fan film called Sonic Villains, which Snake is rumored to make a cameo in. But wait, hold on, here's my crazy theory. We know that a Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2 is on the way. The first one collected 1, 2, and 3, so Volume 2 would presumably include Metal Gear Solid 4, Peace Walker, and MGS 5. Metal Gear Solid 5, Hayter had no involvement with, and as much as fans hated Konami for its treatment of series creator Hideo Kojima, many were equally upset with Kojima's unceremonious ditching of Hayter, who was replaced by Kiefer Sutherland entirely. If the Master Collection Volume 2 offered a David Hayter voice option for Snake, that would likely get some diehards to maybe warm up to Konami and rebuy a game they probably already own. Plus, we've got this gorgeous new character model of Snake from Delta. What if the model for Snake in MGS5 that's based on Kiefer Sutherland was replaced with that one? Obviously, that's a more expensive undertaking than just re-releasing the regular game, which still holds up really well to this day, but maybe it's worth it if there's some kind of clause in Kiefer's contract that requires Konami to pay him more if they're selling another version of the game that heavily features his likeness, and maybe it's cheaper to get Hayter in there instead? I'm not saying I support the idea, I'm just throwing it out there. What do you think Hayter's teasing? And if his name is Hayter, does that mean that all of Snake's dialogue is technically hate speech? And did you know that before Metal Gear, he played another super soldier, Captain America, in the Spider-Man animated series? And did you know I once met Kiefer Sutherland in a bar in Santa Cruz the night the 24 finale premiered? That was kind of weird. Anyway, sound off in the comments below. That is your fix of gaming news for October 10th, 2024. That is a 10-4, good buddy. I plugged this yesterday, but if you haven't, please go check out the video I made about Dragon Ball Z's battle to find an audience in the US and how it very nearly could have just not happened at all. And as always, for everything gaming and entertainment, keep it right here on IGN. Have a great weekend, everybody. I will see you next week.